We're live.
Woohoo!
Hey, Kate.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
You know what I love about doing new shit is that there's always like these like totally unplanned hiccups. And you're just like, well, it is what it is. This is how it's going to be.
I know. We definitely had that this morning, didn't we?
We did. And we should expect it, right? Because it's a Monday, it's 9 a.m., like, it's a whole nother, it's Monday.
Yeah.
Do you have anything big and exciting happening this week?
This week, not a whole lot, but next week, I'm so excited.
What's next week?
Next week, there's this awesome conference that I'm speaking at, that you're speaking at. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be about crazy crafters. And
that's right.
I'll be talking about trademarks. Kate, you're going to be talking about more than one thing, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of things going on. It's good. So I'm teaching target market. I'm teaching cold emailing and the wholesale shelf. And I'm teaching something else. I don't know what the other thing is.
Yeah, you got
networking. Is that terrible that I didn't know? Savannah, if you're listening, don't freak out. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, Savannah, if you're listening, call me when you get a chance.
Savannah was so funny last night because, I screenshot, Joey and I had a little conversation about his t-shirt size, and I screenshot it and posted it to my social media because it was hilarious. But Savannah was like, call him and see what his shirt size is or whatever. And, hey, Tia, good morning. I don't know if we're actually shouting out to people or not, but
Tia.
I saw Miss Tia. So Savannah was like, hey, call Joey real quick and get his shirt size because he's not responding to me. And I called you and you didn't answer. And she was like, oh my God, that's like not answering your wife's phone call. I was like, oh, I know. What if it was an emergency?
You guys should understand, though, that Game of Thrones was happening.
Oh, see, I don't watch that show, so I wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah, it was during Game of Thrones. And, I don't know when the first question went out or whatever, but you guys were trying to get in contact with me, and it was, the only time that I turned my phone off for the whole week.
That's hilarious. Oh, my gosh, I love it. If you guys are listening right now, we would love for you to throw us a share using our share button. And throw it out to some of your friends so that other people can pop on and see the coolest shit that we're going to talk about. I don't see P the politician on here yet, so Mr. P, I'm looking for you, sir.
I'm looking for you too, P. So,
right?
So yeah, just for some context, you might, if you haven't yet, clicked this thing through, this is a live podcast. It's audio only, so you do have to click on it or whatever for the volume to start going. You might be confused if you're just seeing a picture and not us, but it says that it's live. So that's what's going on. It's audio only. And you can expect kind of like what Kate and I are doing now in the first couple of minutes. We'll just kind of shoot the shit for a while.
But we're always going to shoot the shit on good stuff. So, which it's good you guys can't see me because I didn't have a time to take a shower this morning and I spilled coffee on myself. So I grabbed one of my husband's t-shirts out of the back of the car and threw it on my body. So I was like, no one can see me, though. It'll be good. It'll be fine.
I love it. Hey, Miles. Miles just said hi. Have you chatted with Miles yet, Kate?
I don't think so.
Miles Winter is fantastic.
Oh, we do have a call. Okay. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do have a call coming up.
She's awesome.
You know what jacks me up, though? Facebook has done some major changes. Let's just kind of dive bomb in a little bit.
Yeah.
Facebook has thrown down some major changes recently, like this recommendations thing. With the recommendations, though, they have to have a full address that, Google can track. Otherwise, it doesn't put their business on the map.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I was wondering why certain ones were tagging and certain ones weren't.
Yes. Okay. And it's so annoying. And sometimes when they tag themselves, I almost think that you have to tag someone else's page. Because when my clients were, because I was trying to do this map, right, in B3 Core, because I was like, ooh, it'd be so cool to screenshot and show where all the pings are.
Right.
So if anyone knows of an app that will allow me to put up a map and ping my clients all over the map, I would freaking love that. So if you know of that, please comment. Or if you are a rock star Googler, help me find that. Because I tried to do this recommendation things on Facebook because I think it would just be really cool to show that B3 Course National, hopefully international soon.
Yeah, I'm waiting for I think you can do it through Facebook. Oh, Misty just said zmaps.com.
Dude, Misty is legit. Let me tell you, if you guys have not grabbed a phone call with Misty Henry, and you are someone who's making a product, especially in the kids industry, you guys have got to hook up with her because holy crap. Misty, you are always rocking my world with shit that I need. She knows her stuff. All right, cool. Well, I need that. So
she knows her stuff. I'll be doing that today. I will say that it seems like the recommendations feature is friendlier if you are if you're writing it out on your desktop than if you're trying to put it in from your mobile.
Oh, good to know. I like it. Good to know.
Because what I was doing when I first kind of made a thread about it in my Facebook group, if people were just putting a website and it wasn't leaking as a recommendation, I would just hit the @ symbol, type in their business name, and from the laptop it would work every time.
Huh. All right, well, I might have to go back and play with that because I was doing it for them as well in all of my Facebook groups. And I still was not getting, I don't know, it was still not putting in people. So I thought it was I couldn't get Nexus to link up. Huh. Oh, no, I got Nexus. I couldn't get BBAS and Billion. So if you guys are unaware of what we're talking about on Facebook, if you head up a Facebook group or anything, or you recommend yourself on Facebook, or you want recommendations for something, you can click the Ask for Recommendations tab on your status, and every time someone comments, it'll ping it to a map. And you can pick a location. I did it without picking a location, and it totally starts moving in all of these pieces of where people are for their businesses, etc. So it's kind of a cool way, and I've been seeing it for a while. I just didn't know really what it was doing, and so Joey broke it down for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been seeing it before in my. I'm part of a Facebook group of lawyers who are alumni of my law school, and every once in a while they'll say hey, I need a lawyer in this area who does this practice area. Do you have any recommendations? And I've been seeing people use that to kind of let people know that there are certain law firms out there. And then if Gina Hooper's ever watching this, I was kind of sitting in on one of her groups. She had a really good conversation going on, and I started, and then that's where I saw the recommendations tab. I don't know if you've connected with Gina yet, Kate, but Gina's fantastic. She owns Hoop Mama and Craft Mama, and she had this.
She's breaking the internet right now.
She's breaking the internet because of her viral video, but she had this great post. I think she might have started over the weekend, but it was basically,
I read that.
Basically saying to all of you guys that are kind of in the SVG file space where you're making downloadable image files, please respect the industry and just don't go on Google Images and trace these. It's just super disrespectful to the space. And actually, her message was very positive, saying she is so thankful that the people in her community do such a good job of respecting those industry lines.
Well, and I think that you walk a fine line, right? When you are, hey, while you guys are listening, if you know of anybody that is in the vinyl business, they're making shirts, they're making signs, anything like that, this would be a great time to share this podcast with them because we're going to kind of dive into this. We talk about it a lot. But, I think that there's this fine line of, when you're making SVG files for people to buy and you're making actual product, you run in this, in a fine line of from frustration to glee, and it's hard. You don't make a lot of money off of SVG files. So I think that's also kind of a hard space is when you're selling them for $3 or 99 cents or whatever. It's hard. I think, there's
and Kate, to some degree, you and I I don't really feel that on a personal level when it comes to my business because I don't have a $3 or $5 offering. But at the same time, whenever I make a sale, especially in the beginning, every sale that I had made me feel awesome. And when you're in that type of a space where you are, it's weird when you decide to become a business owner and not just a hobbyist. And those sales are great, but they have to scale.
Right. And they have to be, it's so hard. I think even when your price point is at, when you have a low average sale like that, yep. You have to work 10 times harder to make that revenue generating.
Yep.
Which is fun all in itself because it's really fun to think outside the box. And I love working with clients like that because we get to think about different ways to create sustainable revenue. you know, for them, and what does that look like, and, you know, how can they leverage that space, but at the same time, it's so difficult, you know. So Joey and I have a couple things that we've kind of been talking about over the weekend. Joey and I talk a lot. Even last night, my husband's like, who are you calling? I'm like, I'm calling Joey. He's like, for what? I was like, because I got to find out his t-shirt size. He's like, that's not weird at all. So I was like, important stuff, right?
It's adult small, everybody.
Right? It's an adult small, so I told him that he was a toddler. If you look on my business page at Be Badass and Brilliant, you'll see that. But that's the fun of Joey and I, right? Is that, you know, we get to talk a lot of business, work a lot of business, and then we get to, like, still rib each other and give each other shit.
Exactly.
Which is like you know, when I was in business, when I was younger, I really didn't have an ally system of people that I could, like, throw down with and, like, you know, give each other shit, but hack business and do shit, which is why I created my women's networking group, because I was like, holy crap, I really need community of people who get me, especially being like a young mom and having a business. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it, you know? And so now that I have this like really wide network of people, I just commented in one of our paid client Facebook groups, and I was like, you guys are my people. I love you. You know, like,
I mean, I'm so thankful for her, Kate, because I feel like, I mean, we all know that, like, when you get out of school, like, making friends is hard, like, in general.
Oh, it sucks.
And making friends in a professional setting, like, when you are in business and, like, the default is just, like, a network for your business, and you want to do that, but, like, trying to make business friends, is challenging, and it's not, you don't default into that. And so, Kate, I think the fact that you're creating that is awesome. Misty says that you and I are probably her favorite crew. Misty, you're a part of it.
Right?
And yeah, Cheryl, if you guys just want to start sending me adult small shirts, I would love that.
I've got to find you a really good adult small shirt. Although I was thinking that we all need Be Badass and Brilliant. We just got our logo in a couple weeks ago. I guess last week or so, and I've been obsessed with it. So I'm like posting it on everything. And I think that there's this like cool space in business where, you know, typically you start out with this kind of like ghetto logo, right? Because you've like bootstrapped and you're broke and you're like, man, I'm just going to go on Canva and like throw some shit together. Yeah. Unless you're a designer, right? And then you've got some better skill sets. But like for me, like, so ghetto. That's in my life. And not ghetto in a bad way, just like in a really bootstrap, like, bare bones. And so now that we have our new logo, and I'm like royally obsessed with it, so I'm putting it on everything.
Okay,
which Be Badass and Brilliant has some really cool stuff
coming
out.
So why are you obsessed with your logo? Because it's more than just that it looks nice.
It is, yeah. So first of all, my designer, Danielle Favreau, I don't even know how to say her last name. I like to say it differently every time.
So the fact that you can't say her last name, I think is hysterical.
Let me keep in mind that, let me tell you a little backstory about meeting Danielle. First of all, Danielle is incredibly brilliant. She's so talented. You can find her at like teslababy.com, I think. She is a supplier on Etsy. She's the largest, like, multiple color silicone bead supply shop on Etsy. She is killing it. Love her. But she was like headhunted and worked for Google for a year. Like they moved her whole family out to California. Like it was incredible. Anyway, I met Danielle, no shit, for the very first time in triage when she was delivering her first baby. She was decked to the nines in labor. I mean, she looked beautiful. Her husband was like in a tux. Like I don't even know where they had been. And one of my doula friends was like, hey, I'm going to a birth tonight. And I was like, ooh, I have a babysitter. I'm coming. I want to come. Ask this girl if I can photograph her birth. No shit. That's how we met. And we were like fast friends, you know? And so the birth of Nico was so amazing. So I photographed Nico's birth. 2 years later, she had Acadia. I did not see her one time physically in real life between Nico's birth and Acadia's birth. No shit. Like not at all. Crazy. Not once. And so then I met him again at the hospital, photographed Acadia's birth. And I was like, okay, like, for real now, you've been a client of mine for like 2 years. We need to see each other more. So Danielle was like kind of this logo thing. Sorry, but I feel like that's important, right? Because we meet people out of universal alignment.
Yep.
And so in meeting Danielle in that way, it has like unified us in a super amazing way. And it's just super cool. And I feel like we need to be open to opportunities to meet incredible people that you might not normally meet ever in your life, right?
Just to brag on Danielle for a little bit longer, she is like you, Kate. She's one of the people in the Facebook groups who will respond to a Facebook post and let business owners know what they should be doing, and really trying to help them, but it coming from a place of blunt honesty. And
like legit educated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the experience and education to back it up.
I always joke that I always tell Danielle, like, because she's Canadian. So Danielle's Canadian at heart. And it's got to be something with, like, the Canadian education system. Because the way that, like, Danielle responds to shit and the education and the backing, you know, it's just so fun and cool. So you guys should totally, like, follow her, friend her. She's cool. She posts a lot of shit that'll probably fire you up, though. Danielle, you know it's true. Yeah. And so, I mean, I think that's the coolest part. But I'll get back. So Danielle, I feel like, was in my head on creating the logo. And I kind of drew it out for her a little bit. You know, I gave her this kind of like light bulb idea with a couple of things that I had kind of said. And our kind of slogan for Be Badass and Brilliant is igniting your inner badass and getting lit about your passions. And I think that our logo just really just lays that out there. And it says everything I want it to say. It does everything I want it to do. I keep getting all these messages from people being like, the C is really hard to identify out of the logo. And I'm like, I know, I did that intentionally. Like, I want you to spend time staring at it so it becomes ingrained in your brain. It's like the diamond above the Sims character.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
What I love about it is, like, you could never have come to this result if you would have, like, put 4 options together and asked a group of people which one they liked more. This was a very intentional
I hate when people do that.
And the thing is, like, as somebody who has, like, graphic design skills, like, and can see options, I understand where that thinking comes from, but you're then approaching the logo from such a design point and not a place of, like, branding, understanding what you're going after. Oh
my God, and let's be honest, like, the general population is minions. Stop asking them what they think about your logo. Stop asking people whether they like it or not. Would you buy from me off this logo? Shut up. Don't worry about those people. Do what you like.
If you guys haven't caught on yet, I'm typically the good cop to Kate's bad cop.
It's true.
And it's how we hang. But no, I agree with you, Kate.
It makes me fucking crazy. I mean, you know, the thing is that really, I mean, it's like going to your mom and being like, hey, mom, do you like this? I don't know. Women, when you have a mom, by the time you're in your 30s, your relationship is wonderful and amazing, but it's also changed a lot, right? And my mom always tell me how perfect my kids are, right? And we get and she's like, but when you come, they do no. I'm like, shut up. It's the same thing when you ask the general public in regards to things that you want to do in your business. And that's where it goes back into that target market. Like, you have to brand for your market. And when you get to a point where you need a logo, I'm not a big believer in websites and logos, personally. Like, I'm not a big believer in that branding sells your business. You sell your business, right?
Yeah.
And so when we talk about having these perfect logos and all this shit, like, I don't think people need that stuff. I think that you can throw up a janky Facebook page with barely any photos, things you've taken yourself, pop it up there and just start, you know, if you're really living in the light and walking the path, then it all is going to come to fruition regardless.
I mean, at best, a great logo and branding will make people want to maybe learn or hear more, but it's not going to be a decision maker.
Right. Well, you got to be in that revenue generating space. Like, you have got to be making revenue.
No, and that's huge, because I mean, we've talked about this all the time, Kate, like how, like, being in that revenue generating space allows you to pull the trigger on so many steps as a business owner. But those are triggers that you really shouldn't pull before you're in a revenue generating space. Right.
Before you're ready, you know? And like, Joey and I had this big conversation over the weekend about trademarks and all different kinds of, you know, when are you ready for a trademark? When should you get a trademark? How far into your revenue do you need to be? You know, and even like dissecting, like, why does Joey feel like he does in regards to trademarks? You know, like, you don't just trademark an idea. You trademark something that has revenue behind it. And I kind of brought up that I've owned, you know, a couple different companies, and I never even, in all honesty, I never even thought to trademark them ever. because I was targeting a 3-mile radius from around my home, you know? And so I was like, what do I care if some lady in Michigan opens up another art hub? Like, I don't give a shit, you know? And so that's how, in that conversation that we've had, we've talked about, like, what does that look like for your business, and what do you want it to look like? You know, like, how does that all come together?
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense.
No, I totally agree with you. I think that it's, I mean, like you said, like when you're local and you're in a space where things can stay local, trademarks aren't as big of an issue. But now, especially when it comes to like domain name squatting and the fact that on Facebook, you know, someone could, if your business starts doing well, they could easily create a similar sounding or looking business page, and trademarks exist partly to cut that out.
Right.
And so,
well, and I think that, you know, the internet has changed so much over the years.
Yep.
And I feel like, you know, 5 years ago, people were going to Google and typing in chiropractors near me. But you're not going to Google and typing in chiropractors near me anymore. You're not doing that. You're going to Facebook and you're saying, what chiropractor should I be kicking it with, you know, in my community, or who do you love going to, whatever, right? And so,
yeah, well,
Google has changed so much.
And I mean, just as a real life example of that, my wife Kat and I just moved to Chicago. I guess we didn't just, it was like 6-7 months ago, but we had been looking for a primary here. And
yeah,
I mean, Kat was like, I'll take care of that decision. So instead of going on Google and Google Maps or Yelp or whatever and looking for a primary, she went to Facebook and said, hey, friends, like, she used the recommendations feature and said, we just moved to the Chicago area, specifically we're in the Lakeview, kind of Lincoln Park neighborhood. If any of you can recommend anybody, drop them in the comments. And that's how we had our list of people to call.
Which is why I think, you know, SEO in a lot of ways is a big scam, because I don't think that people are necessarily Googling. I mean, it depends on your product or service, but I'm not Googling, you know, for a chiropractor near me. I'm going to Facebook and driving it from there, right? So, you know, but Google also, where I, you know, Joey and I talked over the weekend about a local dance studio to me that my friend Kelly owns called On Your Toes Dance Studio. And I use Kelly as an example. She's owned the business for 18, 19 years. And, you know, if I type in On Your Toes Dance Studio, she immediately comes up. But if there was an On Your Toes Dance Studio in Michigan and one in Illinois and one in, you know, Texas, all 4 of those are going to come up because I'm typing in something so specific that even without having good SEO, it's immediately going to draft up on Google. And so, you know, that's when we start talking about, like, if you have a brick and mortar, you need a trademark, because you don't want you don't want your customer to have to, like, dig through 4 listings of On Your Toes Dance Studio to find the closest one to them, which is why I'm getting to a point now with, like, multiple, you know, like these franchises that have all these locations, that I have a love-hate relationship with it, because in some ways, like, you know, I'm typing in, you know, Exist Fitness. I'm getting 4 Exist Fitnesses, and I have to figure out, like, which one is the closest one to my house road-wise. So now it's taken me, what should have taken me 10 seconds to find one, you know, if I don't look at the exact map from Google, now I'm through all these other things trying to figure out what the hell the closest fitness club is to my house, you know?
Yeah.
Makes me crazy. But I love it, because then I can go to other cities and use it too. But
I want to get to Misty's comment, because I think it kind of relates and ties in nicely. She said, my biggest issue is Instagram hashtags. Who's searching for Instagram for anything? Marketing consultants and like farmers. The drive to push SEO on Instagram seems like a sham. Misty, I mean, I kind of agree with you. What I have learned from people who know Instagram a lot better than me is that the hashtagging really allows, and I don't know who actually searches, but it does allow you to somehow gain traction with people. And the strategy that I've heard is you want to find certain hashtags that are really within your target market that aren't super, super popular. And I forget what, like, the ballpark number is, but it's something like, and I'm probably going to be off here, but, like, if you can find a hashtag with like 10,000 posts, that's a good sign that it's getting some traction in some niche, but it's not like everybody is putting it in all of their posts.
Well, and let's be honest. And I'm a mom. I'm 33 years old. I got 2 kids. If I didn't own a business, I would not search anything via hashtag. My friends, when I ask them, if you need to go find something, are you hashtagging to search it? They're like, why would I do that? I thought hashtags are just for fun. Like if you're targeting general consumers, 98% of general consumers are not hashtagging to find you. They're just not. It's not a part of their daily interaction, right?
But
now, business to business.
Exactly.
Event planner to wedding photographer, by all means. You people are hashtagging each other because now it's an industry thing in the creative world to hashtag to interact. But your general consumer, if you're trying to sell rulers or water bottles to 30-year-old active people that are running a mile a weekend or a mile a day, they're not hashtagging to find the best water bottle.
Well, and I think the other point to what you're saying is, I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. If you're trying to go after a consumer on Instagram, you're doing it wrong right now. Because people aren't making buying decisions on Instagram with the exception of some handmaker space. But I think that hashtags and Mitch is like the rock star on social media when it comes to like the legal perspective. And Danny Fountain is going to be she did an indie show with me a while back. She's going to be on this show next week. Her big thing is, and I think she'll agree with me, that hashtags are really nice if you're trying to become almost like an influencer. She says that she makes a lot of money as a part of her business by being invited to conferences to speak, and that a lot of those conferences don't really look at you unless you have a certain number of followers on Instagram. And so using those hashtags to build a engaged following that doesn't just follow and unfollow takes time, but that can also help build that.
Well, and influencer marketing is such a, we've been talking about it for a while, and there are a lot of people who want to be an influencer, and they're now saying things like, I keep seeing people post, hold on, Missy and Henry, we'll read your comments in just a second, but I keep seeing people post about, I got to find influencers to sell my product. I got to find an influencer for this and an influencer for that. And the thing that you want to remember is that 90% of people who are influencers, don't know they're influencers. My friend, I've got a Facebook friend, Tia Shaw. Tia, I think I'm terrible about reading people's last names out loud. So just know that if you got a last name, that I'm probably going to jack it up. Always. Unless you put it in my brain 100 times over. But Tia is great. And Tia has really kick-ass potential to be an influencer because she's kind of snarky, but she's hilarious about motherhood. She works big corporate, and she has a wide network of people that engage and invest in her posts. So she's one of those people that is a really good influencer, but is it organically? And organic influencers, I think, are almost more the direction that you want to lean than these other people that are like, I have 60,000 followers, and I'm going to encourage my brand to buy my followers to buy your product, right?
Yeah,
but you owe me $5,000 in order to do it. Don't fall for that.
Going back to some terminology that I know Mitch Jackson uses, I think that if you're gaining followers on Instagram in a way that is just connecting people to you at a human level, like if you're using it more just as a person and connecting with people at a human level, if it's not coming off super salesy or influencer like, if you're not doing those follow-unfollow tactics, then over time those hashtags, I think, can allow you to build something organically. But it's not a if there was a bubble where it was kind of a place to sell your business to consumers quickly, that bubble's popped.
Right. And it's a very long-term relationship.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
and it's an investment. Like it
is.
I'm excited to talk with Dania next week because like she experimented and got off of Instagram for about a week and lost a ton of followers, which was okay. Like she made it back and it was fine. But she was like, yeah, like if you get to a place where you are putting out content and you're connecting with people, they expect consistency.
Right.
And you, at the beginning, you have to decide, is that worth your time at this stage for your business? Is the ROI on that positive enough for that to deserve your attention?
Well, like, I don't do any Twitter. We did Twitter for a year, and we gained one client off of it. And then, which is good. One client was good.
Yeah.
However, people say to me all the time, oh, you're missing so much business on Twitter. Well, I don't think that when I really look at my target market that they're hanging out on Twitter, which is what Ian just brought up, right? Ian's target market is not hanging out on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, my friends that are on Instagram are just on there really just to use fun filters, make square photos, and post some things of their kids, right? They're not even really looking for things. I think there's definitely like a millennial stage where, they don't want to be on Facebook because that's for old people, right? 18, 19-year-old kids are on Snapchat and Instagram, and they're not on Facebook. And as they come up into their 20s, which one of the things I want to talk to Danny about next week is legacy marketing. And, because that was a term that she kind of threw into my world when we met. I love Danny. She's amazing. Such a smart, kicking ass, taking names kind of girl. I love her. And so, one of the things that I want to chat with her about is this legacy marketing, because I think it's something that people don't think about. And I think that it has a really strong, opportunity to maintain and hold on to followers and customers and clients and customer service cycle that people aren't even thinking about. I'm super stoked about that. So that'll be something we'll definitely be talking about. One of the things that Joey and I wanted to hit on today, though, I had some other little icebreakers, but we've already kind of started to roll into other topics, so we didn't even need those. I do think, though, if anybody has any comments, or you did see that Beauty Control, it's a major MLM company. They've been around for a very long time. Beauty Control is actually closing at the end of August. And so one of the beefs, I love teaching.
I'm not familiar with it. What is it?
So it's Beauty Control. It's BeautiControl. And it's a makeup skincare company.
Okay.
And one of my big beefs with MLM is that, that company can close their doors at any time and you're screwed. And one of the girls that I know that's been with Beauty Control for years is losing about a $30,000 a month income that she's had for years, and it's going to be gone.
Wow.
Gone. And so she's hired me to help her figure out how can we convert her Beauty Control clients over and very quickly start gathering their information to convert them over into either the next company or whatever it is that she's doing. Her whole team, everything. And so, in the MLM world, it's so interesting because MLM is really based on building teams, getting people to sell underneath you, finding people like yourself that rock, and then making revenue from not only the product, but from what they sell, right? And it just keeps like building up and up and up. And so Beauty Control has announced that I think they're owned by Tupperware, and that Tupperware, they just couldn't recover it. And so they're closing that part of it, and it's just such a devastation for people that have put 15, 20 years into their lives, for their lives and their business and their money, building the space, and now it's like ripped from them.
Yeah.
I know. I thought that was really interesting. If anybody has any feedback on that or thoughts in that way, I'm always open and love that discussion. So I thought that was really interesting.
Well,
the other thing that go ahead, Joey.
I think that I like that issue because it's the whole like if you have been using skills and your education a certain way for something and then all of a sudden you lose it, how can you pivot that into something where you recover as quickly as you can? Right. Well, it's a fun, I'm very sad for her, but I'm also like, for me on the Catalyst side, like I love thinking about that. Like, how am I going to help her think about this in a way that is going to change her future, right? Like I'm, at this point, like I'm really, I get to play this fun role of impacting people's futures and their revenue, but at the same time, I'm so pissed at Beauty Control because I feel like it's, taken so much from her. It's given her so much, but at this point it's taking so much too, Yeah. What was your other point? So then the other thing that we talked about, that we were going to throw down and around here is we kind of like last Thursday, right? We rocked out our hour-long show together on your Thursday show, which is great. And what we talked about was like, putting your business cards out there, outreaching, sales versus marketing.
But one of the things that you brought up was fears as a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
right? And that,
I just,
go ahead.
Well, we were talking about it, then, but also this morning. And a lot of so if you didn't watch that video, one of the things that Kate kind of challenged the viewers to do was think about, it can be, part of being a business owner is getting yourself out there. And an easy way to do that is to just take your business cards and put them in places where, people wouldn't think to put business cards. So like in the bathroom at a coffee shop, or, at kind of a random place at a gas station. And there were certain comments coming through with like certain reasons about how like that would be kind of scary or awkward. And I was thinking about it this morning because there are a few things going on in my business that is kind of making me afraid in certain ways. And I've noticed every time that I get super scared about something with my business, I end up getting analysis paralysis, and what I'm afraid about happening is actually not as bad as what ends up happening, because this fear that I have kind of brings my acting to a halt.
Right. Well, and it's that fear, right? That fear that I always tell people, I would rather you fall and, skin from head to toe, your knees, your face, everything, because then at least you can go back and analyze something that you've actually done versus analyzing what you've not done. And so you don't have any idea what's going to happen, right? We see all these memes about she could have fallen, but instead she flew, right? And it's so true. If the little bird never jumps out of the nest, it's going to die in the nest because it never got food, right?
Yeah.
And so it's sort of the same thing when you're thinking about what you're going to do in your business. Like, take the jump, analyze later, get burned, make bad choices, fail if that's what you want to call it. Swim in the pond of failure, because if you don't swim in the pond of failure, you'll never know what it's like to climb out.
I love that. So on the one hand, like, don't be afraid to fail. And on the other hand, I was talking to my good buddy Mary Hodges about this. Like, if you're at a place where for whatever reason you feel like you are like in a rut and not motivated to move, like, count from like 10, and when it's over, you have to move.
Yep.
Like it's just like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you force yourself to act in some way, because you have to. I mean, it's just human nature. We lose motivation, especially if we're nervous about the potential outcome. And like little tips and tricks that you can use to allow yourself to just keep moving forward. Because as a business owner, I mean, there's so much to be afraid about.
Well, that's really encouraging, Joey.
So let's tie this back though to your new brand and the light bulb, and is it Light Your Inner Badass or Ignite Your Inner Badass?
It's Ignite Your Inner Badass, get lit about your passions.
So I love this because the language that I've started to adopt from you, Kate, is like, our business owners living in the light.
Yeah.
And you're able to, what I take that to mean is like, are you as a business owner? I mean, it's one thing, a lot of my audience and followers are creatives and they're working on something that they love doing. But just because you love doing something and making something doesn't mean that you would really enjoy running that industry as a business owner. Or there might be options to pivot in certain ways that might, even if they're good like business decisions, might kind of bring some toxic energy into the reason why you went into it. And so you've always like asked me that repeatedly, Kate, like, Joey, like, do you feel like this decision will allow you to live in the light as the business owner? And the fact that you can bring that positivity and combine it with the energy that you and Rachel bring and the excitement that you have for that's why I love this brand.
Well, and, Sparks is really, Rachel Sparks is my co-founder for Be Badass and Brilliant. She's incredible. Actually, one of the things I want to talk about next week, though, is, because we won't get to it today probably, but is muscle testing, and this emotional release. Sparks is getting certified in it, and it's so incredible, Joey. You're totally doing it. I can't wait. I'm going to force you through it. I just did it with my son over the weekend, And I've been really, my poor son, I'm sure when he's 16, he's going to be like, oh my God, why did you tell people all this stuff? But we've had some battles with him recently. And so we've been like working through them. And we did this emotional testing. So Sparks is getting certified in that, which is very cool.
Nice. Is
that,
my co-founder, is that like a one-time testing thing, or is that like I would meet with her a couple times?
We've done it one time. So basically my understanding of it is that your body reacts to things that aren't truly true for you differently than it reacts to things that are true for you.
Cool.
And so you have less resistance. Like, let's say you put your arm out, in front of you, right? And you tighten it. And somebody pushes down, you love your wife, right?
Yep.
Well, they're not going to be able to push your arm down to the ground because you love your wife and you know that, right? And then they say you love yourself. And let's say that you maybe somewhere in the root of your core, you don't love yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So your arm like drops down because your body can't fight against what it truly believes versus what it doesn't, what you tell yourself,
so
right?
Interesting.
Yeah, and so it's a mindset, but it's a mantra. And so like with my son, we did a mantra of, I will do this one thing every day. And then when he went to do that one thing 2 days in a row, directly after, we've been battling this for 4 years, you guys, 4 years, since he was 3 years old. He's 7 now. When he went to do that one thing, he said the mantra to himself and then did it. I mean, it was so amazing, so incredible. And so part of Ignite Your Inner Badass is going to be doing those emotional clearings, which is what it's called, to help people be able to get over things. And a lot of it really, in all honesty, is your fear of different things. Success. You might be somebody who is fucking killing it, but yet you're still not able to really make the revenue that you need to make in order for that to really come together. So somewhere inside your soul, there is a belief system that you're not actually meant to make money, right? And so we can help you clear that out, which is going to be super cool at Ignite Your Inner Badass. But Sparks is really great because I've learned so much from her. She's been a life coach for a long time, and she has a master's in counseling, which is why I partnered with her. I wanted someone that had a counseling degree. I know that you can counsel for fun on the side and probably learn a lot, but for me, it was really important for my clients to have that actual counseling degree behind her.
Yep.
And when you're working through business struggles, right, there are a lot of fears, and I'm not very empathetic, and I am not very good at that place of it. And Sparks is amazing. So that's kind of how she and I came together.
And you're both so approachable too.
We try to be. We work really hard on that, But that being said, one of the things that Sparks has always really talked about is like, is this in the light? Are you being called to do this, or are you doing it because that's what the monotony of life is making you do or making you think you should do? And so what are you really called to do? What really drives your soul? What are you really passionate about? Because a lot of times people do things that they aren't actually all that passionate about, but they just do them because that's the monotony and the routine that they've created for themselves, right? And so if it's not, what do we really want you to do? And I always say, and if you're finding a lot of resistance in your life, like you're doing something and it's just not you are busting your ass to make it come together, and it's just not coming together, you might not be walking in the light. And so when you walk in the light, the path is lit and lots of things open and the universe aligns. And so that's where we kind of talk about, that also like goes back into our logo, right? So our logo is really, originally we started with an octopus, which I still freaking love, but I feel like I was a little ahead of my time. And you're always going to have products and things like that.
Yeah.
That are ahead of your time. Like I've got another client that has a company that is, I think is just truly ahead of the time right now. And if you're too far ahead of the time, then of course it's not going to sell. But if you are kind of like a little bit ahead, then there's room. But, so the octopus just wasn't taking off. People didn't get it. And we're like, shit, man. And then all of a sudden I was like, a light bulb. Oh my God, a light bulb. And so it's not something that you see in a lot of logos. So it's not overdone, which I love. The C stands for catalyst, which is why the light bulb is not closed. It's cool.
No, I love it. And just to clarify here, Danielle does a lot of different things. She's like so talented as a creative. Was her helping you with this logo? Is that a part of her traditional services? I'm just wondering, like, if people are listening to this and they liked your thing, should they, are they free to contact you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the other thing that Danielle is really amazing about is native apps. There are a lot of people selling apps out there, and a lot of them are templates and bullshit.
Yep.
So don't, before you buy an app, make sure that your know your target market and know whether they're going to use it. I almost spent $27,000 last year on an app that I promise you my clients never would have used. Never,
oh my
ever.
Gosh. What kind of app?
And so because I knew my market and I really thought about it, I was like, my market's never going to use that, so I'm not buying an app. That being said, and Danielle was really vital in that. Like, you don't actually need an app. Like, stop doing it. Don't do it, And so she really helped me out with that. And she she codes, makes, and builds native apps. The other thing that Danielle does that's super cool is that she knows a lot about making websites blind friendly. And so one of the things that I think we forget about a lot in our websites is that they aren't actually friendly for people that are hard of hearing or visually impaired, and that people who are visually impaired actually do have access to websites, and that if they're set up in certain ways, it makes it easier for them to access. So I want to have Danielle on, and I would love to have Marjorie Moore on as well to discuss some of that stuff, because I think as business owners, sometimes we forget about that population of people, and there's a lot of people out there that are accessing the internet and have a hard time navigating your site and can't purchase from you because it's not laid out in a way that's friendly for them.
Yeah, no, I think that's so, she's so just like good at things. I want to make sure I get to Misty's comment here. Kate, when you talked about your logo switching from the octopus to the light bulb, Misty said that she got it, but doesn't scream catalyst. It screams busy and overwhelmed, but she does love octopi. And I can kind of see where Misty's going with that. I think that now your logo, rather than capturing like the problem that people are feeling really well, it really focuses on where you want your client's headspace to be.
Well, and with the octopus, in all honesty, originally we thought that our target market was moms, and we still sort of fall in that space, right? We both have kids in grade school. I still have a preschooler, but moms have 8 legs, right? They always have a different spoon in a different bowl somewhere doing something. And that's kind of what the octopus, really represents, is not so much the overwhelmness, but I accomplished so much with so little every day, all the time. And it is still like a mentality that we think is really important to foster. Women's brains just work very different than men's. And the octopus was to represent how powerful and incredible women are, and in their ability to be able to do so much with so little, right? I mean, a lot of these women that we're working with, Joey, you and myself, they started these businesses in a back office in the basement of their house, and, they're doing everything. I've got a client who has 4 heat presses in her living room, 4 kids, 4 and under, with a set of twins in there, right, in her living room. And so, we're working on some of that too, but these women they're doing so much. They're caretakers. At the root of who they are, all women are caretakers. And that's kind of what it was meant to represent. But again, it just got confusing, and in my opinion, I was just ahead of the game.
Yeah, no, I can totally see where your head is at. But bottom line,
and Miss Tia, hold on one split second. Miss Tia, you are so right. I opened up, when I was starting my networking group, I opened it up to all women in business. And it's, when you're figuring out your branding and who your target market is, sometimes it's a little muddled, and you're trying to who really has our pain point is what I'm always asking myself. And at the end of the day, it's really people that are business owners. Well, actually, Joey, I'm really excited. I'll announce this out. We haven't announced this anywhere else. But we're starting a men's mastermind for B3
Are you
Core.
really?
Yes. So it'll be geared towards guys, business development related. They'll have access to all of our educational videos, which Sparks and I are up to about 25 now. The videos are great. We get tons of great feedback from our current B3 Core clients. And so in the men's mastermind, it'll be access to the library, but then also an actual monthly mastermind for our guys. Because what we're, the needs are there, right? Real, true, nitty-gritty business development, sales versus marketing, outreach versus inbound, outbound versus inbound. all of those rooted issues are the same for everyone. Everyone's struggling. So to isolate based on gender is not something we want to do. But we're super excited about our men's mastermind coming out the door.
Sign me up.
Right?
I'm all for it. Let's see. Jennifer Ranch Pants. Jennifer, is that really your last name? I've been meaning to ask you that for like 4 months. She said it's very muddled here. Thanks for the feedback on the audio. If you could clarify whether you think it's muddled on...
Is she saying audio, or is she saying about her motherhood life with work and life and business?
Oh, see, that, and there's me putting my own perspective on it. I thought she was talking about the audio. But yeah, she might be talking about her current parenting life situation. But either way, Jennifer, let me know what your last name really is.
You can PM us if you don't want to put it out there on social media.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jennifer Harris said your audio is low.
Okay.
No, but I might as well change it as all my friends call me that. Motherhood life, laugh out loud. So it's a motherhood thing. It's like something that occurred in her mom life.
Cool.
I love that. Well, and I think that I used to have Kate Photo G was my Facebook name, and then Facebook forced me to change away from Kate Photo G. And that was a bummer. But Davidson, Jennifer Davidson. Good to know. We'll keep that in mind.
Davidson. Okay, cool. And yeah, Jennifer, I just turned up my audio a little bit, so we'll see if that does anything. But let's see. We should probably start wrapping up here a little bit. Kate, do you have any other than let's brag about this conference for next week.
Yes.
So
we're going to be in Mobile. Is anybody in Mobile? If you're in Mobile and you're listening, or you're going to the conference with us, let us know. I think there's actually some people can buy an audio file, I think, of our talks too.
Yeah, you can join virtually. I'm still figuring out what the best way to. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly this is going to look like, but it looks like you can pay and join a private group, and they're going to be streaming all of the classes and things for the group. So even if you can't make it, I'm really, really excited about it. Savannah has been putting so much time into this thing.
Savannah's amazing. I can't wait to give her a big squeeze. So she's the girl that's putting this thing together. Let me interrupt you for another split second. Tiffany Sass, I am naturally, organically, uber freaking loud 24/7.
She is.
It's I am always going to be super freaking loud. So, unfortunately, Joey's probably going to have to yell to keep up with me. I wish my friends give me all kinds of shit about it because I have no quiet voice.
Well, I am trying to turn my mic up as much as I can and speak as close to the microphone. If I start shouting, then I've got my little dog Feeny here, and he might look at me like something's wrong.
I love it. I think that that'll be good. And actually, Joey and Rachel Sparks and I are all driving down to Mobile together. And Carol just commented, I was just going to say that's like talking to them in person.
It's true.
It's so true. Good. No, I'm so glad you said something, Tiffany. Anytime any of you guys that become staples to listening to this, at any point in time, if you can't hear one of us, you'll always be able to hear me, let's be honest. But if you ever can't hear Joey, please let us know, because we definitely want you to be able to.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, no, it's very much appreciated.
Right?
But yeah, so this conference, I'm going to be speaking. Kate's going to be speaking. There's my sister Christina's going to be speaking about getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So that's going to be super exciting. Kate, I didn't tell you this yet, but my mom is going.
OMG.
So, my mom, as a traditional mom of a kid who's doing something that's a little untraditional, she's not exactly sure what it means when I say that I'm an attorney for creatives, and this is the first talk that she's going to see me give. And so I just told Savannah, the leader of the thing last night, you have to bring a lot of people to my event, because if I speak in front of 2 people and my mom's in the audience, I don't want that. So
that's not actually what I was hoping for. So now I think that mamas are proud in
no matter what.
Right? If she's the only one in the room, she's still like, oh, there he is talking. And your mom's so great because, it takes a ballsy ass woman to raise 7 kids, and and all of them to turn out really fabulous and stellar. So
yeah, no,
clearly
I'm really
I need to sit down with her and get some parenting advice.
Yeah, I mean, she can definitely identify with the octopus metaphor,
right?
I feel like, to a sense, like, after you have more than like 3 kids, it's all the same. Like, it's all a lot. But she didn't have a life for like 30 years, and now, you know, the last one is out of college.
Well, she had a life. She just chose to have a life of raising children.
Yeah, it wasn't
and making them wonderful people.
And I say this in a way to compliment my mom and just kind of show how much she took on that caregiving role. But my sister Christina and I, like a year ago, we were like, "Hey, Mom, what's your favorite color?" And she was like, "I haven't thought about that question in forever."
I have no idea. Well, and you know, as your kids get older, I keep saying this, like when my kids were 5 and under, I was, you know, replaceable, not in a life or death way, but just in a real way of that. My kids were, someone else could wipe their ass, change their, you know, feed them, put them to bed. And now that they're in grade school, like, I mean, probably if you asked me my favorite color, I'd be like, I have no idea. Why are you asking me that? It's so pointless. Don't ask me that. You know, like, I don't have a clue, because once they hit a much more, where their lives and their passions and the things that they value and love are taking over, you know, you become like this octopus of managing the schedule all the time. It's like going out of town for 3 days. I'm like, oh my Lanta, so many things are happening, you know, and you become immersed in what they are passionate about and what they love.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for you to meet my mom for the first time. And Savannah's mom, I think, is going to be there. So it'll be a cute little thing. But yeah, if you guys, I mean, there's also like some major players who were there. I don't know if you guys know who May Williams is. She
in the crafting world.
In the crafting world, May made it. She has a huge following on YouTube, and she's going to be teaching a class. They really brought in some big players to come in and talk. And you know, I don't know of a whole lot of like conferences for crafters like this, and it's hard enough in this industry to kind of get outside of your house and work, let alone like learn and meet other people. So I'm really excited just to kind of see the connections and communication that builds over the couple of days.
Right? Yeah, I'm super excited that I'm excited because it'll be a lot of fun for one. I mean, we're going to totally document our 10-hour drive down there. So that'll be fun in all of its glory. And I've already decided that we're doing some Musical.lys. So if you guys don't have Musical.ly yet, you should probably get it, because that's going to be fun. My kids and I are obsessed with Musical.lys. We do them together and play, and it's just a really fun way you can keep Musical.lys private, or you can like post them publicly. So we'll be doing some of that. Sparks and I love Mad Libs, so we're getting a Mad Libs book. We're also bringing down some St. Louis love to Miss Savannah, so I'm really excited about that. I'm excited. I think it'll just be fun. There's tons of B3 Core clients there already. Miss Janice
awesome.
Lamb and Liz Linkus. I don't know. Again, that's another last name I don't know how to say in real life.
We're on such a first name basis with everybody.
Right? It'll be great.
I told Misty Henry the other day that someone else named Misty called or texted me the other day, and I just assumed that I only knew one Misty, and so I started talking to her, and it wasn't Misty Henry. So yeah, I think it's fine. I don't know a lot of, you know, people's last names in this industry either, and I think that's cool that we're on such a good first name basis with everybody.
Right? I love it. Well, this was super fun. We'll be back next week, the Badass and Indie Show. Please share it with your friends when you see that we're going live. We're super stoked about that. So we'll be back Monday at 9 right here on the Indie Law Facebook page. So please share it around. If there's anything we said today that you guys would like to tell a friend, please share it. Or if you're in a Facebook group and you want to drop it out, we would love for you to do that as well. If you do, we'll totally give you guys a shout out next week.
Yeah, and any love that you guys could give us in the comments would be like really greatly appreciated. if you want to kind of offer encouragement or support or feedback in a more permanent way, a great way to do that would be to hop on either one of our business pages, so either Indie Law or Be Badass and Brilliant, and leave a review and just let us know what you liked about what you listened to in the podcast, what you'd like to see more of or changed, what type of guest you think we could bring on. That would be a great way for us to have something that we can go in and check on and see, get a pulse for the group and how we're doing.
And if you just dropped a sad or angry face because we're going to be back next Monday, I'm really sorry. But if you did it because you're sad that we're leaving, then that's okay. I love it. No, it's super fun. I used to do a lot of podcasting in a studio, so it's really fun to be able to do it this way and kind of get back into it because I love it and it's a good place. So awesome. Well, thank you guys for rocking out with us, and we'll see you next Monday.
All right. See you guys. Have a good one. Bye.